From faking bomb threats just to swap airplane seats to chaotic dance floor brawls in the heart of Sydney, a wave of unusual behavior continues to make global headlines as we enter 2026. Why are we seeing such a dramatic rise in aggression and selfishness among some Chinese travelers? Is it just the stress of a struggling economy, or is it a deeper cultural shift caused by decades of ideological change? Today, we're breaking down the most shocking recent incidents, from seat hogs on high-speed rails to the garbage highways of Xinjiang, that are sparking intense debate worldwide. We will explore how traditional virtues of humility are being replaced by a restless drive for self-interest in modern China. Welcome to China Uncovered, where we pull back the curtain on the complex realities and hidden stories shaping China today. On September 22, 2025, a major bomb threat occurred in Sabah, Malaysia. A Chinese pair faked a bomb scare to ditch their flight, hoping for a seat change. They emailed a false claim about an explosive on board, sparking massive fear. Authorities confirmed the suspects were a 29-year-old male and his 28-year-old spouse. They were caught that night at a Sona hotel where police seized their phone. Officers discovered a Vivo X200 Pro Mini likely used to send the warning. Detectives noted the email originated from the wife to cancel the September 23 trip from Taiwan to Kuala Lumpur. After the airline warned the police, Taiwan authorities took charge of the investigation. The duo confessed they were influenced by an old blog post suggesting a bomb threat could cancel a flight, letting them pick better seats. Both individuals recently faced a judge in court. Police asked for a 4-day detention to collect more evidence and track the email's origin. They were charged under the Penal Code and the Communications and Multimedia Act. This bizarre, selfish act to swap seats isn't just a one-off event. As the 2025 Lunar New Year ended last February, flights were packed with travelers heading home. One notable case involved a Chinese passenger on Singapore Airlines SQ826 who caused a scene mid-flight that made global news. Clips from witnesses show a woman demanding the bathroom while the jet was taxiing, hitting the restroom door, mocking the staff, and reportedly hitting an attendant. She screamed, "Try and stop me from speaking Chinese and English," even as the crew tried to soothe her. Eventually, the pilot headed back to the gate to eject her and her friend for safety. Per FlightAware, SQ826 was set to leave Changi at 1:15 a.m. on February 6, 2025. The plane was supposed to hit Shanghai at 6:02 a.m., but didn't take off until 3:01 a.m., arriving 86 minutes late. Such clashes aren't uncommon on flights with Chinese travelers. On February 1, 2025, a fight broke out on a Cathay Pacific flight from Singapore to Hong Kong. A man lost his temper after a lady asked him to straighten his chair, yelling at her and attracting a crowd. He shouted, "Can I tilt my seat or not? Is it a rule? Pipe down." The woman shot back, "I stayed silent when you screamed at my kid. If you can't tilt your chair, that's your issue." Why do some Chinese flyers flip out over minor things or cheat for small gains? Experts think Communist Party messaging, which differs from old Chinese values, has fueled greed and ego. When the economy boomed, these traits stayed hidden. But with the financial stress leading into 2026, this selfishness is glaring. Recently, a woman caused chaos at the Shanghai Masters tennis tournament. She was dancing and waving in the stands at first, catching everyone's eye. But when she started screaming for a player, it ruined the quiet vibe of the match. Staff asked her to be still, but she ignored them and kept being loud. Soon, several guards showed up to kick her out. She fought back hard, wailing and refusing to budge. The scene got worse when a mixed-race boy, likely her son, grabbed her in terror as she was dragged away. The moment was cringeworthy, and onlookers began to judge, with one clip titled, "Only mainland China breeds such weird behavior." Since the post-pandemic era, China's market has struggled due to lockdowns and a steady decline. Many citizens are feeling stressed and acting out. During the recent National Day break in late 2025, subways were overflowing. Adults fought, kids sobbed. And when doors slid open, people nearly got shoved onto the tracks. Everyone on the platform was fighting to get inside the train. Web users argued about whether to help those being crushed. One person noted, "If you're by the door, just slide over. If not, stay out of it." Others cautioned, "Don't push or pull. If someone trips, you're the one to blame." Another added, "If you help someone up and they drop something, you might be liable." Usually, The wealthy avoid these crowds. The people stuck in those subway cars are just regular folks trying to enjoy a holiday on a tight budget. Their vacation fun is mostly just a cheap distraction. As Yuhua wrote, people scramble around in stress, all for a bit of silver. Over 40 years since China's opening, real wealth belongs to the elite. Media still shows families of 3 generations struggling just to survive. Asking these folks to prioritize ethics or manners is a tall order. When survival is the goal, even a bit of peace feels like a dream. On October 2nd, 2025, a clip went viral on X, sparking intense debate. It captured a fierce standoff between 2 groups of Chinese women near the Rhodes River in Sydney. The fight began over a spot for square dancing. One team, carrying wooden oil umbrellas, performed gracefully to classic Chinese tunes. Meanwhile, the other group arrived with a white suitcase, blasting loud music and chanting slogans, clearly ready to challenge the umbrella dancers for the prime practice space. Square dancing, which started in China's neighborhood plazas, has reached global spots like Red Square and Sydney. Wherever these ladies travel, they definitely make their presence known. In Sydney, this dance fever carries on late into the night. Any open area can turn into a makeshift stage. But behind the upbeat energy, conflict often bubbles up. In the footage, dozens of dancers face off, their speakers blaring as they battle for territory, looking exactly like a warlord skirmish. Back in China, these women are frequently blamed for disturbing the peace, yet they keep having fun. Most are over 50, retired, and tired of just sitting at home. They feel isolated and want social connection. With kids living far away and husbands preoccupied, they've become typical empty nesters. Square dancing provides a fix. It's a way to stay active, meet others, and find community, which beats running alone or staying inside. But this popularity brings friction. Plazas are public areas, so local officials have few choices. We can't just draw boundaries or ban them from dancing. All we can do is try to talk them down. If things get heated, we call the cops. The dance-off by the Sydney River is just a global version of this trend. Some web users have labeled these dancers with 4 main traits. They are extremely cheap, quick to fight, love causing drama, and never back down. Considering their past, most were born between 1949 and 1978, before China's big economic shifts. Back then, the country was poor and cultural education was largely ignored. During the Cultural Revolution, an entire generation lost their best years for schooling. This lack of education made many people more restless and far less patient. Eventually, chasing money became more important than rational thought or public rules. This explains why we see so many square dancing fights today. These behaviors aren't actually rooted in old-school Chinese culture. Instead, they are shaped by the heavy hand of communist ideology. Of course, many people influenced by these ideals aren't just fighting over dance floors. They are also battling for seats on trains. One famous case from 2018 highlighted a clash on a G334 train where a man refused to vacate a window seat, a behavior that unfortunately still resonates in similar incidents today. Regarding this seat hogging, experts state that every ticket holder has legal rights that violators clearly ignore. If talk fails, officials should take tougher action, like blacklisting them from travel, similar to how they handled deadbeat debtors. The Legal Daily noted that while seat hogging seems small, it's really about standing up to rude behavior. The passenger wasn't just fighting for a chair, she was defending the basic rules of travel. As China's high-speed rail network continues to expand in 2026, public respect for rules must catch up. In 2022, the Dukou Highway in Xinjiang became a garbage highway on social media. Many users reported seeing trash everywhere, and the problem has persisted into the 2025 tourist seasons, with food wrappers and plastic bottles littering the once beautiful landscape. In response, tourism departments have begged travelers not to turn scenic routes into dumps. Littering on these roads causes deep environmental harm. But this isn't just a Xinjiang problem. If you look for similar news, you'll find this issue at many top tourist sites across China. The Dukou Highway is remote, making it hard to clean, and the costs are incredibly high. Because of its location, the damage is far worse than in developed spots. Recently, another rude incident occurred on a domestic flight when a passenger let their child defecate right in the aisle. Overwhelmed flight attendants wrote, Seeing this isn't even shocking anymore. Why do these things happen so often in China, yet seem so hard to fix? Not only do some ignore personal space, but when they clash with strangers, their reactions are often shockingly aggressive. A viral clip shows a middle-aged man blasting a fire extinguisher at 3 women during a fight. One woman collapsed from the fumes, while another was sprayed directly in the face. Bystanders yelled in anger, "Call the police immediately." Experts warn that spraying fire extinguisher powder at someone is very dangerous. The dust clouds the air, and if a victim breathes rapidly, they might inhale particles that damage the lungs. In extreme cases, this could lead to suffocation. Long-term exposure might even cause chronic conditions like pneumoconiosis. Unlike kids in the West, many Chinese children often didn't receive strict self-control training. This leads to a lack of self-discipline that has serious, long-lasting effects on adult behavior. On one hand, people lack a clear sense of boundaries, making it easy to dump their private habits or emotions into public spaces. On the other hand, they are conditioned to be managed by outside forces. When facing authority, they tend to obey. However, when dealing with strangers, they often toss out manners. This contradiction leads to 2 very different ways of acting. They might be caring toward people they know, but totally rude toward strangers. These habits can't be fixed by simple government civility campaigns. The real problem is the total lack of individual character development. Without a developed sense of self, true self-discipline stays out of reach. Public rudeness isn't just a bad habit from the past. It's a direct result of cultural distortion caused by decades of specific ideological schooling. Historically, China was respected as a land of manners and etiquette. Values like hard work, kindness, and humility were deeply woven into the culture. For instance, stories like Kong Rong giving up the biggest pear or the 6-foot alley symbol of harmony were the norm. These tales embody the Chinese tradition of settling conflicts through grace. However, modern shifts have started to rot these values. The character of the people has slowly shifted from kindness to aggression and greed. Many recent events on the global stage reflect this warped mindset, marking a stark departure from the traditional virtues that once defined the nation.